Your manager can be a leader. Your leader can be a manager. I have seen managers who are not leaders. I have seen leaders who are not managers.
But I do want to ask you about something you wrote recently. It is leadership as a foundation to everything. And there you cover some interesting concepts around managerial abilities versus
Leadership abilities. Yeah.
And I think that's one aspect that people kind of relate to interchangeably. I want to see you talk more about, the difference between them. I feel like, a manager could be a leader, right? But does a leader have to be a manager though?
Fair question. I mean, I like to understand things from its first principles so that I don't get confused.
The true product lady that you are.
I appreciate clarity. Clarity is knowing what you know and what you don't know. Because it's not just about what you know, right? Then what you know is just knowledge. I feel what you don't know, I mean, what you should not know, should not do, the should not comes from wisdom. So clarity is kind of having both. That's my view. That's my take. And I'm happy with it. I can sleep with this kind of a thought.
Yeah.
Putting it from a clarity perspective, leadership, according to me, is how you lead. The word lead means basically you are taking the first step. When nobody else is taking it, you are taking the first step. That's what is leading, right? And you can take first step anytime, right? Do you need followers to be a leader? No. You first take the first step and you are able to see something. You have a vision that nobody else is having. Only you have it. And because that vision is so clear, you are marching faster, just that others don't know where you are marching. To me, a leader is someone who is able to put the first step, go towards their vision. And because their vision is inspiring, people follow them. Sometimes their vision is not inspiring, nobody follows them, that's okay.
Right.
So you don't have, first myth is like you don't need to have followers to be a leader, first. A follower comes purely when it is a 1-1, win-win. I come from the world of electronics. 1, 0 is 0, 0, 1 is 0, 0, 0 is definitely 0. If it is 1, 1, then we have 1 as an answer. So if the leader inspires the follower, then it is a 1, 1.
Right.
And so is hiring, so is dating, so is marriage. All human relationship, it has to be a 1, 1. If I don't agree with you, if I don't buy what you're saying, then I'm not with you. Yeah. So in that sense, you can be a 1-0 as well. It's okay. And to do that, you have to lead yourself first. Your own self should have that agency to go and do something. If you can't inspire or drive your own self, then what are you leading?
Yeah.
The first person to lead is you. So that is why I feel leadership is a common foundation for every single person. Either the person is a leader or not. There is nothing in between.
Right.
You are either a 0 or a 1.
Yes.
You either lead you or you don't.
Yeah.
And there are some folks come and say that, but I'm following them. Okay, Baba, you follow them. For that also, when they follow that vision that inspired you, you should be able to take action, isn't it?
Right.
So you still have to be 1.
Yes.
So that's my way of understanding it. And to put all the complicated ideas into one short sentence, your ability to lead comes from your awareness, your acceptance, your agency, and action. This is the basis of your ownership. Okay, you're doing this podcast. You take ownership for this podcast. You figure out cameras and mics and places and what kind of people I want to talk to. All of this comes from your awareness. That's where your knowledge comes from. And your acceptance is a switch. Yes or no. I do it or I don't do it. The minute you say I do it, Then your agency says, okay, let's go. When are we doing it? Next.
Yeah.
March, May, how many are we rolling?
Yes.
Right?
Already.
And then comes your action. Like today, we are sitting and talking and filming and finishing. Next week, you will be sitting and editing and getting it done.
Yes.
This is how much that needs to happen for an action to transpire. There are so many people, either they fall off in pre-awareness, they don't even have the awareness, or they have awareness but they don't accept it. It would be nice to do a podcast. There are so many people in the world who say that.
Yes.
Yeah, but we only listen to podcasts. We don't do podcasts. Different, right? And there are so many folks who don't have the agency to do it. Oh, I'm busy. I don't have priority. I don't have time. You are able to convince me to come on a Sunday afternoon. Ability to sacrifice kids' time, family time to come here. That needs a drive, right? So this is what I call as leadership. So you start owning first task and then a bunch of tasks, and bunch of tasks you can call it a project, and then a bunch of projects, and bunch of projects can be housed under a program, a bunch of programs, portfolio, bunch of portfolios. So your responsibility increases. Now you're doing a podcast, Product Street. Now, tomorrow you can do multiple types of podcasts. Probably you become a gimlet. I don't know. Right? So you can make this as much as you want to go.
Right.
That is in you.
Right.
Nobody told you have to do this.
Yeah.
So, do you have to be a manager?
No.
Can you still do it?
Yeah.
So, you answered your question.
Yes.
So, leadership is innate. Managerial ability is to organize others. Organize your environment, your context, your resources. That's what is management.
Right.
So, we call it, we just play with words saying doing right things, doing things right. To me, doing right things is leadership. Doing things right is management.
Manager.
Right? So, ideally, everybody should be able to self-manage as well. Because you need to do things right.
Right.
So, in that sense, again, everything starts with self. You lead yourself, you manage yourself. That's basics. You have to have it.
Yeah.
And then you lead others, you manage others. You manage a bunch of managers.
Right.
So that's responsibility scope.
Yeah.
It increases. So to me, that's a different ability. Organizing, structuring, systemically, bringing your resources together, that needs a different ability.
Totally.
This is more like you're influencing others to follow your vision, your ability to bring people together. This is different ability.
Yeah.
I think these two are different abilities and we keep confusing it.
Right.
So it's 0001101.
Yes.
So that's my view of. So when I look at a person, I ask myself, okay, does this person has the ability to lead themselves and manage themselves? First, green tick. Then we talk about other potential. Because the rest of it can be taught.
Right.
Leading yourself, managing yourself, that's hard to teach.
True.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty awesome perspective. But then I want to ask you, tell me about some unpopular opinions that you've got about, say, leadership.
There are many, but definitely this misunderstanding that leadership is only for senior people, people with authority, people with titles. I think that's an unpopular opinion. Self-leadership can come in you from probably the minute you start walking. Yeah, and if you really look at children who grow up and take ownership, we call this as agency now. And when they are, who are these children who are having agency, who are able to lead themselves from their, childhood? So whenever I hire young people, I definitely look for their history. I ask how many things you have done, how many things you have failed at, how many things you have, not given up, how many things. And these are things that kind of tell you about that person.
Yeah.
Their resilience, their perseverance, their patience, their grit, and that is very important in my opinion, because it's not about the marks and the grades. I, do, I have a bias for kids who are competitive purely because I come from sports, and I look at it as a nature which kind of wants you to win. You never get into a game saying, I want to lose this game. Never.
Yeah.
You always enter that arena saying, I'm going to win.
Yes.
Okay, sometimes you will say, I want the gold. Yeah, a silver will disappoint me.
Yeah.
But you enter like that. That's a spirit with which you are going. And you give your best. What comes out of it doesn't matter.
True. True.
So I want to know what spirit with which you wrote that exam. What effort did you put in? So basically, I am more of an input person, because I know that the output and the outcome is not in your hands.
Right. Right.
But I do want, when somebody says I cracked, my AIR is 70, 72, my All India rank in JEE is this, I cracked, USEED, SEED, and here is my rank. I have a special respect for these people purely because they worked for it.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks come and ask me, say, do you believe in college degrees? Do you want, why are you, even looking at only NIDs, IITs, stuff like that? It's not the NID or IIT. It is the effort that you put to go inside.
Yes.
And after getting inside, the effort that you put to come outside. That is what shows in your mark sheets and degrees.
Yeah.
I don't care if you got a 4 GPA on 10. I don't care. But the minute you are saying I am at 9.5, it means you worked. You took it seriously.
Yeah.
You took that system seriously. You worked for it. It takes hard work.
Yes.
So that's my view on how I look at it.
Yes. I think the other side of the coin here is, since we're talking about institutions or like looking at grades and stuff, I have a thought over here, right? Talk about people who have gone to like IITs or such Ivy Leagues or that kind of a category of education versus people who didn't go there.
Right.
But then fast forward a couple of years, they're both in the same space.
Yes.
At the same level.
Yes.
I think that speaks a lot more about this category of people's deferred hardworking, because you didn't do it there, but then looks like you did something midway.
In between, yes.
Yeah, which like accelerated your growth, and
Correct.
now you're over there.
Right.
I think that's another beautiful space to...
So, net, the least common denominator that we are talking about is effort.
Yes, yes.
Yeah? Whether you put your effort at 10 years old or 20 years old or 25-year-old, the effort counts.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and anything that counts your input, I think that is a very good measurement system.
Right.
Because if you are able to put effort there, I can extrapolate and say you will put effort in any other system as well.
Yeah.
This is purely a very systemic view. So a lot of people come and say, so if I'm a self-taught designer, you will not take me, is it? So this is how I do my hiring, and this is my personal opinion. And whenever I hire, I always give a 2.5 hour exercise to everybody. And I have a roulette of hundreds of exercises. I just need to, and it'll come. I pull out one exercise and hand it over to people. And when I get all the submissions, it kind of comes into a spreadsheet. So the first thing I do is I hide all the columns which says name, age, gender, any of these information, which college you're from, which group you're from.
Okay.
And hide all of it. Just look at this assignment.
Right.
Select who are the 5 people you want to talk to. My hit ratio is usually 1:5. So the top 5 that I want to talk to, and then open up all these columns and see oh, okay, this person who did so well in this effort, how is their portfolio looking like? So you're triangulating. Okay, which institute they went to, or which organization they were a part of, what kind of complexity of projects they have dealt with, and how long they have been doing this, the amount of professional experience and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that gives me a perspective.
Now, if we have to move towards the last component
Mhm.
of this episode, it's what I call the reverse hot seat. So now you've got to put me on the hot seat,
Okay.
and you get to ask me one question.
Just one? Oh
Just
no,
one for
I
now.
have many. All right. This is a curious question.
Okay.
As a probably a borderline millennial and a Gen Z, if I guess it correctly, how do you look at the future of work?
The future of work. Are we talking in terms of human behaviors, or are we talking in terms
Whatever.
of tech intervention?
As somebody who is going through the AI era, what do you feel the future is going to be like, especially the future of work? Because work takes about 12 hours of a day. So
Right.
if we got that right and 8 hours of sleep right, the rest I don't care. So
I like that question. It makes me go back and think about how I've seen the elders approach work or be indulged in work versus how I get to work right now. And with the recent advancements in tech and everything that's happening around us, just a little bit of foresight into more like a prediction on, because that's what you want to know, right? Like, how do you see things?
how do you see?
If you look at the amount of like we spoke about it earlier, augmentation versus autonomous. I feel like running around this back in the day, there were a lot of things with very less amount of augmentation in terms of how much the human gets to do. Because there's a lot of things, whether it's manual or even if it has the potential to be automated, because we didn't know back then that there was a potential to be automated. We did it by ourselves. But now the fact that we are coming up with inventing things or discovering possibilities where we can automate some amount of our work, at the same time retaining some amount of augmentation in terms of I don't want to be the one doing everything, but then if you do it for me, I can maybe tell you whether you did it right or not, whether we're good to go
Verification.
or not. Verification. And if the same thing continues, right, if this trend keeps up, maybe we'll come to a point where the only decision you have to make is what kind of work do you want it to do, and what kind of work do you truly want to keep doing. Because there was this famous post that I saw where I think she's a famous author, I'm just not able to recollect her name, but then she says, I don't want AI to do my writing and my creative stuff. I want it to do my laundry and the dishes so that I can do my writing and the creative stuff. And I think that distinction is where we will be delving further into, and probably a future where, in terms of work, the nature of work that we do, we're not too much in the nitty-gritties, but we have a good authority or control over how things are going forward. And hopefully a good distinction between what exactly we want to see AI to be doing and what we want to retain that control over.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you want to do higher order functions, and you wanted to delegate all the lower order functions to AI. And that way, it's a combination of the human and AI kind of leading the charter, rather than just you alone, just the human alone leading it.
Right.
That's interesting.
So now that we've reached the end of this episode, I feel like I'm definitely going away with a very intense, feel-good mood, because I hope in the future, I don't care what happens to AI, but I hope someone can replicate you into an audiobook of sorts, so that I feel like you're like 20 books in a human form. So that's probably
probably a Karthi bot that should take care of it.
Yes. But yes, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure. I have a perspective for that as well. How many times we'll get to do this in this lifetime?
Oh, yeah.
Probably once. Maybe if we record another episode, maybe one more time. And that's what? Net put together 4 hours
Yeah.
into 2. That's it. That's all I get to spend with Veda.
Right.
And that's about it. And for that, we create so much fuss. I don't have time in my calendar. I don't have priority. I don't have this. I don't have that.
Yeah.
But this is the flow. You don't
Right.
want to miss it.
Right.
And it's always lovely to have a conversation like this,
Yeah.
rather than looking at the screens all the time. So
Totally.
it was worth traveling, coming.
Oh, thank you so much. And it's not just what we spoke over here, it's all the conversation we keep having, behind the screens as well. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
amazing. I'm happy I get to meet you and I get to have this conversation with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. Bring it all together.